For months, some of the best rallycross drivers in all of iRacing have rumbled around various tracks across the United States. But today, the battle for a series championship reaches the home stretch. Who will conquer the virtual Iowa Speedway? Today, we're about to find out live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa for Round 8 of the Jetta RX Charity Cup, hosted by Valhalla SimSport. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth tonight is Peter Mackay. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. These drivers getting all set to get racing here at Iowa. What's the best way around this racetrack? Let's take a look at your GSRC lap guide to find out.
Welcome to Iowa Speedway. Located just east of Des Moines, this Midwest oval is probably more closely associated with IndyCar and NASCAR. But thanks to iRacing, in the virtual world, it can also host rallycross events. Just over a kilometer or 0.6 of a mile in length, it squeezes 8 corners into a compact and challenging layout. A relatively small portion of the lap is spent on the dirt, with it spreading across the very end and very beginning of the lap. Numerous hairpins dot the course, so mechanical grip will prove critical. The last of those hairpins has its own unique set of challenges. It's the fastest portion of the circuit, and it dives down from the steep oval banking into the flat infield. It's also pretty blind as you swing it around the barrier to the inside. It's not uncommon to see drivers tangle with one another here. The Joker lap cuts out a large part of the infield section and gives you even more speed as you fly around the oval banking. But the exit is narrow, so precision will be key in order not to look silly slapping it into the outside wall. While passing won't be impossible, it'll take some careful planning to execute. Any small mistakes will certainly be pounced upon by your competitors. Iowa Speedway's rallycross course is proof you don't need a big track to have big fun. Drivers and fans are sure to enjoy the racing here today.
That was your GSRC lap guide for the rallycross circuit at Iowa Speedway. Now let's bring my broadcast partner for tonight, Peter Mackay. Peter, this is an interesting circuit with a lot of twists and turns here in Newton, Iowa. Talk us through some of your expectations for the circuit today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you once again, Justin, for this, like you say, tight and twisty and very tricky rallycross circuit here at the Iowa Speedway. And in these little Jetta TDI Cup cars, it's going to be a really interesting challenge for our drivers because, of course, unlike a real rallycross car, these are front-wheel drive and you do not have an activatable handbrake. So that's going to make those twists and turns even more difficult. So requires such a unique driving style to get around this 0.66 mile layout. But the good thing about the Jettas is they don't have an enormous amount of power, but they do have good torque, so you can pull out the corners quite well. And rallycross is always a brilliant format of motorsport, fast and furious, fast-paced, and I'm sure it's going to be a joy to call the action together tonight.
Absolutely, some very entertaining action the last time out at Sonoma. But let's take a look at how the points are shaping out. Entering tonight's action, remember the winner of the championship will be able to choose a charity in which the prize money for this series will go to. They also have the option to then defer to the second place driver for a charity or a non-profit organization to be selected by the members of Valhalla SimSport. The winner will also receive a receipt of said donation. It is Visky who's leading the point standings entering tonight over Mark Samagi by 38 points. Tim Brokaw is 87 points back in P3 with Cianfari in P number 4. Aaron Cortez rounds out the top 5 in the point standings. Entering tonight's action, 178 points separate the top 5 drivers in the series. Now, it's talked about a little bit in the past in some of the previous broadcasts, these drivers getting ready for what is the second to last round on the campaign, Peter, as we get ready to take a look at your race details.
Yes, thank you, Justin. As I was saying, it's fast and furious action here for the action here today at Iowa Speedway. As you said, the penultimate round. We're going to have 3 heats of 5 laps each with 2 consolation races of 5 laps each, and then finally a 10-lap feature. So it's going to be all happening one after the other here at Iowa. So you need to be paying attention to watch all of the action here. But I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
As these drivers continue to work in the circuit for today, I'd like to remind you that, are you interested in advertising with GSRC? Our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow the link in the description for today's action on YouTube to learn more about how to get involved with the global sim racing channel. These drivers continue to work in the circuit today. Remember that the track state does carry over from practice into the various different sessions to qualify the respective heats to set the grid for the feature, etc. here today. What are some of your expectations based on what you've seen these drivers do so far, with the pace right now in the 42 9s to 43 3s for the top half of the group?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, I think, Justin. You see, the Samogi, two-tenths of a second is a lot around the layout of this length. So he's obviously got to come out the gate really, really strong. But as you'll see throughout as the race progresses, as we see, there you go. I bet you've never seen a Jetta fly over a jump like that. So as they go through the looser section here, you'll see it a little bit more of the loose gravel being thrown onto the pavement area. So that's bound to affect the traction for the drivers as the whole evening's racing progresses. So it's going to get a little bit more dusty on the line, and therefore lose grip. And that will mean that the lap times we're seeing right now are likely to be the quickest we'll see all night.
Taking a look at about-Scandinavian currently second on the board, work his way around the racetrack at 84 miles an hour. And talk us through how you would take this racetrack as a driver to try and keep it clean without making sure you don't bust the motor, as well as don't slide off the racetrack in sectors like here.
Yeah, this corner on screen right now is the most difficult on the circuit for me. You know, when you come over that jump, even if you don't take the jump at full gas, you've really got to try and get the car set in a way without it, because once it goes onto that loose surface, the car just wants to go straight. And unlike in a four-wheel drive rallycross car or even a rear-wheel drive car, you can't get the back to turn around with the throttle. So it's really, really tricky. This car requires a very specific driving style. And I would say, Justin, that it's one that you need to try not to overdrive. You can almost give away a tenth to gain 2 or 3, as we see coming through here again for the lap here with the number 59 machine of Thomas Kanyerke. And yeah, coming through here, he's doing pretty well to hang on there. But of course, sometimes if you run a little bit wide, you do have the option of just kind of running with it and then taking your joker lap. Of course, in each race, each driver has to take the joker lap once, and the joker lap is a lot quicker than the normal lap. So if you're running a bit wide in this corner, as you can see here, you can just gas it up and then just take the joker if you get into trouble. So you do have that option, but of course, you've only got it once.
You also have to make sure you don't hit that armco barrier you just seen there, as Bruce Jurek gets back going for more practice for him in P3. Now, of note, a lot of the drivers in this series this season are part of the George Racing eSport team, and they've been doing a solid job as a unit for the respective group. We've seen them several times so far, Peter, run 1, 2, 3, 4 in some of these events.
We have, and I'm sure they will be right up the front battling away all evening. And that's the thing about rallycross, is it's just you've got no time to settle in like you would in an endurance race or even just a normal sprint race on the pavement. Rallycross is so fast and furious that you just have to, there's not really necessarily a great deal of strategy involved, with the exception of when you take the joker lap, but really you just have to get your elbows out, and it's really fast and furious action, even in these humble Jetta TDIs. But as I say, they've got good torque, so you can really punch out the corners quite well in these little machines. As whoa, see one of the drivers getting a bit loose there over the jump. Now, this car has actually been on the iRacing service since it's in fact one of the earliest cars that was on iRacing. And back in 2009, iRacing actually ran a Jetta TDI Cup on the service, and the winner of that cup got a fully funded ride in the SCCA Pro Jetta TDI Cup, which ran for 3 years around the turn of the last decade. So it does have a little bit of heritage with the iRacing service, and still offers some really fun racing. And because the speeds are relatively slow compared to others, you can also see quite a lot of moves going on and quite a lot of contact. I think we're going to see, like any rallycross race, we're going to see plenty of contact today, I would suspect.
I think so too. And you talk about some of the history with this race car, one of the oldest ones in the service, absolutely, that has seen a lot of different competitors race in it. And it's always been one that has been, for a lot of drivers, a fan favorite because of some of its maneuverability and as well its charm of how it runs and its similarities to its consumer version.
Yes, absolutely. I have to say, I drove, I used to drive a VW Caddy, which is effectively the commercial van variant of this car. It's the chassis is exactly the same. It just has a van body put on the top of it. And I have to say, it was a really enjoyable vehicle to drive. Again, very light because it was such a small van and actually quite relatively, not so much outright horsepower, but it's all the great thing about turbo diesels is the torque. And funnily enough, speaking of a very different turbo diesel, I had the incredible fortune to chat to three-time Le Mans winner Alan McNish, who drove in a variety of Audis and also Porsches at Le Mans and the Toyota as well. And he said by far his favorite was the R10 TDI. Now that was a V12 TDI with two big twin turbos and 1,100 pounds of torque. Oh, sorry, 1,100 Newton meters of torque. So there is actually, you still can make a race car go quickly with this technology, but of course, as we know, not so much in favor nowadays back in 2020.
Drivers all set to get going for qualifying. 3 laps, 5 minutes to set their fastest time around the racetrack. We'll see how qualifying goes for these competitors to set the order for the respective heats today. In total, 7 competitors ready to take part in today's event, with Tim Brokaw among the first drivers to hit the racetrack. The car just in front of him in terms of timing is Sean Foes right here in the number 3 machine, as that one goes off into the grass and all the way nearly towards the garage.
Yeah, it just kind of went straight on, and that's what we were talking about. That might have looked strange, but this car really just, as soon as it gets on the dirt, it just wants to go straight because it's basically in its road form, its road racing form. It's really much more comfortable in its natural environment on the pavement, and as soon as it gets onto the dirt, it really just does want to go straight. So you've got to be really, there is actually a lot of finesse and skill required to get this car turned on the dirt, using the brake, a little bit of left foot braking perhaps. I have to say I have not mastered it yet, Justin, but we'll see for the drivers who want to get on pole and win the race. Whoa, nice big, nice big jump there from the number 80 there of Tim Brokaw. And yeah, he's got it right. Look at that. Just taking his time, taking it steady, and just taking it gently around on his qualifying lap. I think that's going to be the key to the race, just getting that corner mastered, because it's so tricky to get this car turned on that dirt.
Mind you, we did crush in the front nose a little bit, as a little bit of a tight corner on the clip of the grass on the rotation. See how much speed is able to be carried after some of the damage, using the apron to be able to try build up a run for this arc. Reached about 70 plus miles an hour, heading off into the corner once again.
Yeah, very neat and tidy there on that last transition into the final corner, coming right up off the high line of the Iowa Oval, and then coming down there. I think Tim Brokaw is looking very impressive here. But oh my goodness me, look at Tamas Kunyeri in the number 59, tops it by 0.6 of a second, and Durack also coming through there. Samogi 43.4, so lots of quick lap times getting put in. But we must also mention that these drivers basically all have the track to themselves. They're on solo qualifying, so they're all doing solo qualifying simultaneously, and then their lap times will be taken.
Now, the interesting thing, though, again, with the dirt is technically it still also carries over some of the conditions from some of the drivers. You'll see it with some of the lines that may have popped up here from time to time. But Brokaw, of note, that time he set is quicker than what he recorded in practice. Not as good of a runs to start lap 3, though, as Kunyeri slides off the track. He's P3 right now with a 44.2. His last lap didn't count.
Yeah, actually, the track limits here are relatively harsh. Actually, there's certain parts where you don't have to step over by much, and the iRacing stewards they will raise the flag and invalidate your lap. It's one of those things as a driver when you come through and you know that you're close and you sort of go, oh, please get through. And then you see the little notification pop up at the top of your screen saying off track ×1. And you're going, oh, no, I thought I got away with it. But that's the thing. And also, that's quite difficult to determine where the limits are in this rallycross format.
Yeah, especially with how those drivers have been able to take a little bit of that extra dirt you see now. The groove broke off. 44.8 is his official time. He's now done. Most of the other drivers completing extra practice laps for the most part. You see Gabor hit a bit of a bump. 44.253, quickest lap. Everyone else has already set all 3 of their solo qualified laps with about a minute or so until they get the green flag for the heat races. And as we take a look at Sean here, what are some of your keys to victory for a race such as this tonight?
Well, we saw there Thomas Brokaw there doing a perfect Scandinavian flick coming into turn 1 there, coming over the jump. And then a Scandinavian flick is basically when you basically quickly turn in the opposite. So say it's a left-hand bend, you will quickly turn right and then back to left again. And that sort of flicking motion basically gets the weight transfer working of the car. You see it in rallying all the time, and you'll see it in rallycross also. But with this car, as I mentioned, no handbrake, which is really, really tricky with it being a front-wheel drive car. It's on road tyres. So I think just having, I would say, Justin, I think patience is going to be really important because it's so easy to get frustrated and try and overdrive and force the car into something it doesn't want to do. But it's so easy to make a mistake here coming to this corner. So I think that's going to be very, very important. And also, I think also aggression as well. You know, sometimes with you can't let anyone away with pushing you around in rallycross. You have to make sure you get your elbows out because manners are not required to get to victory lane here.
Drivers are all set to go. They'll have one heat to sort out how they'll run for the points time for the feature race tonight. Let's take a look at how they will sort things out for the starting grid for this first and only heat race tonight. It's Amagi on the pole. Visky starts in second. Kanyuri starts in third. And the 4 for the teammates. And Georgi starts in P number 4. Bruce Jurek also starts in P number 5. Along with Tim Brokaw in P number 6. Sean Foes rounds out the top 7 of those drivers. As you can see, rather, it's 5 George iRacing Team eSport Team machines. With 2 other machines ready to go. All drivers already off and away. 1 missed jump. 5 green lights. We're underway from Iowa.
Well then, and oh, contact straight away, and oh dear, that's Tom Brokaw being put away, and oh my goodness me, it's carnage. Sorry folks, that's yep, that was that particular car. I can't quite tell what the number on the side of that car is. Direct, yeah, he just basically drove straight sideways off the start, so I don't know what was going on there. Obviously, some sort of personal score to be settled, but Brokaw, he was a bit of a kind of innocent bystander there and got caught up in that incident. But Jurek, away at the front, leading the trio of those cars, those George SimSport cars at the front. Number 5 car there of Jurek now back going again. Or no, sorry, that's the leader, Visky, isn't it? Yes, sorry, my apologies, folks.
Yeah, that's a massive, massive advantage with the chaos already in this run so far. 12 seconds. You can already see, though, has taken the Joker on that lap. So the question's going to be how big the advantage might be once everyone else follows suit on the Joker.
Yeah, I think that's pretty wise to get that Joker in. And when he's got all that big gap, you could just take it and then just extend that gap, really. Oh, look at this, coming round the outside and... oh, look at that. It looks like the Joker has got a big advantage, Justin.
Yeah, that is about 13 seconds if you nail it right. It looks like just about you can gain in that section. And Whopper is now in the lead. Huge bump. Couple of laps to go. Start of lap 3.
Oh, here at Iowa, fastest lap for the number 5 of Gabriel Albert Visky, 44.2. But it's Mark Simogi in the lead right now. But Georgi, I tell you what, once he's taken the Joker, he's going to be coming and get involved here too.
Yeah, and Kanyori, mind you, is about 4.9 seconds back. You see the only our driver is Georgi, as you mentioned, who hasn't taken that Joker. Just did, and he just took P3 in the backdrop. All while Simogi's starting to run away. Here's that look at some of the other groupings of cars here. As you see that arc, Up to P3 is the 44, despite getting involved in the first lap incident.
Yep, okay, so Mark Simogi setting the fastest lap of the race. Let's have a look at one of our other drivers. That's the number 5 of Gabor Viski chasing down Simogi. He's in second place right now, so a good opening run for him in this first race of the night. But Simogi, yeah, just taking the joker on the second opportunity, and that strategy worked perfectly.
And remember, these are your top 2 drivers of the point standings entering tonight. Much more rotation for Viski compared to straight to the racetrack surface for Simogi. Can he close up enough time is the question. 1.3 seconds, make it 1.5 is the gap. White flag is out, 1 lap to go as a huge bump for Simogi on the bump.
Oh yeah, you mentioned before the broadcast, Justin, you've got to be careful not to wreck the motor landing on that jump. It's really aggressive. These poor little Volkswagens, they're made tough. They're made tough in Germany, but oh my goodness me, there's only so much they can take. And they are being stretched to their absolute limit right now. And Simogi, well, considering he was in the lead, he took that jump at absolutely full tilt. But final lap then, it looks like he's going to take it, not barring any mistake, looks like he's going to take it here in the opening heat.
He's actually stretched a full second as he passes by a driver with a blown motor. Checker flag is out in the heat. It's Mark Simogi winning the heat race for round number 8 of the Jetta RX Charity Cup.
Flawless performance there from the number 32 driver. Perfect start to the night for him in his VW Jetta. But it'd be interesting if we get it. We'll need to find out what happened at the start there, because it looked almost malicious there, just driving straight across into the path of the other driver. Strange, Justin.
Those were some teammates, mind you, who made contact in the incident. But in the end, 2 drivers did have significant damage. Sean Foes, along with Jurek, did not make it to the checker flag. With that run through the heat, though, it's Simogi, Viski, Kenyuri, Brokaw, Georgi inside the top 5 for the feature race. 2 minutes to warm back up for these drivers and get reacquainted with their now freshly repaired race cars. What's your take on what we've seen in that heat race and how some of the drivers may adjust in a couple moments here for the feature and the actual points?
Well, it was the Joker just makes such an enormous difference as well. You know, obviously everybody has to take it if everybody's in the same boat, but it's huge difference on that Joker. Norm, I've never seen that actually in Rallycross, having that much. I think you were saying 12 seconds of difference, but also managing these front-wheel drive machines. This is why right on board here with Gabriel Albert Viski is a perfect person to ride on with. Look at that, just minimizes the front, that horrible scrub, that understeer that you get, that kind of tightness that you get from a front-wheel drive car, and you see him Scandinavian flicking it there. He'll be dabbing the brake, left the brake, trying to get it to turn desperately. But Viski showing some good skill there, but it's a particular skill that would be so alien if you're used to a rear-wheel drive car or a four-wheel drive car.
Yeah, it's so difficult if you don't have that experience to try and rotate the race car. And we're seeing pretty good job in the warm-up from Viski. He's the quickest in the warm-up session at the moment. By the way, track conditions, 104 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, 71 degrees is the air temp, partly cloudy skies, 67 degrees humidity. It is July 18th in sim time, approaching 1 p.m. So just past high noon for these drivers, so fairly hot on the track.
Yes, very cozy indeed. And of course, this weekend, the IndyCar series go to Iowa. And no, they will not be on the Rallycross circuit. They will, of course, be on the 7/8 of a mile oval track for that. And I believe that is the first opportunity for fans to get out to see some IndyCar racing.
Yeah, there's already been some crazy racing over the past couple days, but we're about to see what could be a crazy feature race. Simogi, Viski, the top 2, Kenyuri in P3, Brokaw in P4, Georgi in P5. Foes and Jurek round out the top 7 for these drivers. All of them off onto the grid, all set to go. 5 lights are waiting, green lights are out. We're underway from Iowa.
Green and go for this field of 7 VW Jettas. Down into turn 1 they go, piling in, and it's Georgi and Kenyuri battling it out over the jump. You need to be really careful going over that jump. The car just wants to go straight, but they're all through cleanly. Little Scandinavian flick into turn 2, get the car rotating. Oh, bit of contact there between the teammates. Oh, goodness me. Not often you see 5 cars on the same team, as we see a couple of takers, 3 takers for the Joker so far.
That's Jurek amongst some of the air drivers. Visky also took that Joker. Shotfoes also took the Joker. Everybody else banking it. Again, 10 laps is the distance in this feature race today. 1 Joker available for these competitors.
And the number 3 car, Sean Foes there in 3rd place. He was one of the Joker takers, if you like, is the number 44 car. Gabriel Georgi going a little bit defensive there into the final corner, but it looks like the number 3 car is just floundering a little bit. I don't know if he's maybe taking a bit of damage in that first lap.
Yeah, remember, he was someone that nearly slid off the racetrack in towards the garage area in practice in some cases. 1 more driver takes the Joker. Big advantage. That's Samogi making the Joker run, and he's now your race leader.
So Kanyeri takes the lead. It's Georgi, I think, that took the Joker, I think, Justin. Or was it? Yeah, I think Georgi's taking the Joker, but I might be wrong.
Well, either way, position Psycho to Samagi now with the race lead. Visky's now in P2. You see the Jokers now pop up that are used. Just about everyone's already used them in the first couple laps. And that's despite Visky sitting at 44.3 without the Joker run on his first lap. Not taking it.
Yes, this is almost quite good. From an entertainment perspective, it's almost good that we get the Jokers out the way and then it's just a straight fight to the end. So I think that's quite good actually. So we're going to get a bit of a battle, and it looks like it's going to be between all the George machines. And look at this coming up top. Look at this. This is, I can't quite tell the number of it there, but the number 32 car, Mark Samogi, leads in, and the 59 of Thomas Kanyeri goes round there as well, and they're all through safely. And Tom Broca, he's back there in 6th spot.
So with the teammates scrap now to the front of the field, 7 laps to go. Kanyeri hits a bit of the bumps. Georgi slipping and sliding, losing a bit of momentum. 1.2 seconds the gap between first and second. Make it more than 1.3 seconds as the teammates now will look to scrap for second.
Yeah, this is real civil war here, isn't it, between their teammates. They are desperately fighting for honor, intra-team rivalry, intra-team bragging rights at stake here. But Samogi leading by a 1.2 seconds from Visky. A very comfortable margin so far, but we've got 7 laps to go. What a huge jump there from Samogi. And tell you what, he really gets the car. Look at how he gets the car set there into turn 1. He makes sure that the car is turning as much as he can before entering the corner. And then you see him on the gas and the front wheels just scrabbling like a rabbit for grip on a loose surface.
I mean, they call him Whopper for a reason. He's taken some Whopper hits to that chassis on some of the bumps and jumps so far. Halfway this time by, but the gap is starting to close. Visky's starting to reel him back in.
Yeah, Samogi, he's absolutely leaving nothing on the table here. I tell you what, look at that, how smooth he is around that final corner on the pavement. And then, whoa, huge big jumps here. Oh, and Visky lands very awkwardly there. Goes for the Scandinavian flick. Mark Samogi goes wide, but oh, so does Visky. Kind of follows him along. Come on, power, 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 power. Oh, it's the worst feeling when you're just, the wheels are turning, but the car isn't moving any further forward.
Should note that Samogi's car taking some big hits along the left front tire as well as the back part of the race car right next to where the fuel goes in for that machine. He's still been able to grow the gap, but that car looking very worse for wear, as you can see for the rear end.
Yeah, these cars are going to be only good for the scrap heapers. Oh, yeah, sorry, that's I did think he was getting a little loose there for the final corner. A little bit smoother there over the jump that time, but a 10-lap feature is about all these cars can take. As whoa, he's onto the grass, gets a little bit too hot. That's that over-driving we were talking about, Justin, but sets the fastest lap of the race. Again, a 43 flat the last time around, so he's really flying.
2/10 quicker, in fact, as meanwhile, the battle for third started to heat up a little bit. Georgi trying to hold on. All these drivers, mind you, in the back part of the race cars have a little license plate space with a nickname. For Georgi, it's Sir. For Kanyeri, it's Tom. For Jurek, it's Mr. Joker. And Mr. Joker nearly dived it for P4 in this grouping coming to 3 to go.
Yeah, Mr. Joker there, Mr. Joker George. George Racing Team here in the 996 machine. He sounds like he might be a Porsche fan, possibly. Of course, same group as Volkswagen and Audi as they go over the jumps. A little bit more sedate over the jumps there, but oh, not sedate into turn 2. Who was that? The number 44 of Gabor Georgi. Wow, really good for getting the car. It's not often you talk about oversteer with a front-wheel drive car, but I think that would qualify as it, Justin.
A little bit indeed, absolutely, for this driver. Still, though, the pace difference about half a second between the top two and what these machines have been doing. Can Georgi hold on is the bigger question right now, as he's also had significant back right side damage. Can Yuri late breaks it, dives to the inside, nearly hit the tire barrier.
Yeah, it's an interesting line there from Gabor Georgi, just like you say, definitely on the brakes early, maybe trying to spook his teammate. You look at that, look how early he gets the car set. He's almost got the car broadside as he enters the corners. It's completely, it's such an unusual way of driving. It's of course something that you would normally just do. You just click the handbrake on a four-wheel drive rallycross car and the back runs round just no problem at all. It's almost automatic. But one of these things, well, it just requires such a lot of effort behind the wheel. I think that's why they're such a popular car, Justin.
Indeed, at this point, they're coming to the white flag this time, though. Can Yuri try and move himself into a podium position? This time, tire line taken by Georgi. Yuri all the way to the back bumper. White flag is out. Both drivers hit the jump. Yuri nearly jumps on top of his teammate. Goes to the back bumper. Makes contact. Here comes the slide. It's Jurek now up to P4.
Yep, slide job there from Jurek, just going, oh, and bit of contact. Oh, that's, oh, huge contact. Oh, and that's, oh, goodness me. Oh, God, they just pogo all over the place there. Sorry, I have to say this is comical action here. Jurek gets through there in third. And Samagi, here he goes, Justin.
Mark Samagi dominates at Iowa. He takes the feature win. He's your winner of round 8 of the Jetta RX Charity Cup. And a good points haul coming in for him with this victory with Visky in P2. But the battle for P3 just had a change. Yuri taking the spot back from Jurek. He'll round out the podium with Jurek coming home in P4.
Yeah, just nips it at the final spot there. Yuri, very, very impressive indeed to get the last spot on the podium. And Broca, on his own, when not one of the non-George Racing Team drivers, he gets in 6th position.
And some of the George Racing Team teammates now pose for photographs as a result after a significantly decent run today. That's your drivers for Ps 2 through 4. Now celebrating after a strong run today for them in this organization. We'll take a quick step aside as they celebrate. Post-race coverage coming up in just a few moments. You're watching the Global Sim Racing channel live from the virtual Iowa Speedway. Welcome back, everyone, to the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa for post-race coverage for the Jetta RX Charity Cup, hosted by Valhalla SimSport. These drivers finished off a nice and exciting race today, but in the end, it is a 1-2-3-4-5 for George Racing Team and their organization. Mark Samagi comes away with a race victory in dominating fashion by 4.8 seconds in the second to last round of the campaign. Ken Erie finished in third after some bumping and banging. Jurek gave back the position for P3 coming towards the checkered flag and fell back 9/10 at the stripe. Gabor Georgi still able to hold on to a top 5 though. Tim Brokaw nearly stole away the top 5 after the crash on the white flag that involved everyone bouncing across the turtles on the racetrack. Sean Foes rounded out the entries today 37 seconds back in today's event. Justin Prince alongside Pierre Mackay, Sean Ambrose in the director's seat for what was an interesting race today, but a dominant performance for this man, Mark Samogi, winning in dominating fashion, about 4 to 5 tenths in some cases, faster than his teammates. Mark, how are you feeling with the victory today?
Hello guys, thank you very much to be here. Yeah, it was I was dominating. We were practicing not too much, but I think it for 2 days. Um, I didn't dominate like this, so I was fourth or third in the practice. I was surprised what did here in the race, but I think I had to do what I did, so it was in the right time, I think.
We've seen a lot of difficulty for some of the drivers today, especially with how some of the bumps were. How was the car for you today compared to what happened at Sonoma, where several drivers reported engine troubles after hitting the jump there?
Oh, here it was. I think it was about the crashes. So the track here was much smoother than the others. So I think it didn't about the track. Maybe the bumps are a little bit too high, but on every track is the same. So I don't think it was be a big change between the other tracks at this for a bump.
This, however, did have a major difference in that where the Joker lap had a massive advantage, it seemed, Mark, of 12, 13 seconds. How did you calculate that strategy to play the Joker where majority of competitors took it on the first lap? You took it on the second and just bursted right on by, like Visky was standing still.
Yeah, I had to make a reaction because on the last weekend we have a real race with a cup in rallycross, so I had a little bit practice on there. So when you are faster, you don't know how much faster than the other, so you cannot see the other times because you are going and you cannot see anything. I have to watch the mirror, and if I saw Whiskey went to the Joker, I have to react for that because I know, and I had to make a very good lap. So I tried to make a very good lap and went to the Joker to went back to for the first place. So I don't know why I did it, but it was working.
Final race of the campaign goes away from the U.S. over to Europe. It's at the track they call Hell. Your thoughts on going there and trying to make sure it doesn't become a, for lack of better phrasing, a personal hell?
I hope it will be a good weekend for the George Racing team. So we will practice for that because it will be the next weekend, and we have to count how I'm going in the championship because we have to throw 2 weekends, and I don't know what is the points now. So we will count that. I hope Hell will work for me because this is a European rallycross rules. So the Joker is short, yeah, no, longer. So you will have more time on the Joker than the normal track. So we have to think about how we will do it there.
To calculate the math roughly, 32 points is your difference after today over Visky in the standings. You have 571 points. He has 539. And with the victory today, does in total give you an aggregate points total with the heat of 84. So, in our words, looking very good on the map. Let's put it that way.
Yes, yes, yes. It's fine, but I think we have to throw 2 weekends. So I
Yeah,
have a 1-0 weekend, and
right.
yeah, and I will have throw one more. I hope I could win this championship, but it will be a hard one. So Whiskey and the other guys are very, very fast. So I will have to see what they are doing, because yes, we are practicing together, but every guy have a special track, and I don't know who will dominate on how. I hope I will, but never know.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your victory today?
I want to thank you for my team, for the George Racing team. I wanted to say thank you for the last weekend, because I said we were racing on the Rio Rallycross, and I was second. And there was a very, very funny weekend for us. So I want to say thank you for them and for my family.
Congratulations on your fifth victory of the season, Mark. Well deserved.
Thank you very much, guys, and thank you for this session and for everything.
Mark Zamonki coming away with the race victory today, his fifth total on the campaign. It'll be very interesting how this championship now plays out, as he mentioned, with some of the discussions in terms of the points and how each driver is at that particular racetrack next. But your final thoughts, first things first, Peter, on how today went here at Iowa.
I think it was very impressive. The drivers really got to grips with the car around this really tricky rallycross circuit. A lot more tight and twisty than some you see when we go to Hell next week. It's far more open, far quicker. So that's going to be almost easier actually, because you got more time to get the car set going into the corner. But yeah, very impressive, very impressive today to see, and really looking forward to getting to Hell next week, because it is one of the proper premier venues anywhere in the rallycross world.
It's going to be intriguing how the race goes there, and it's been one track that was slated into the schedule since this series started. It's a track that everyone on the service wanted to see, and mind you, Peter has put on some great, amazing shows, including on national television here in North America.
Yeah, rallycross it's had a bit of a renaissance in the last few years, and at the moment just deciding where to go next in terms of electrification, etc. Of course, it's a perfect format for electrification, but in trying to implement that's going to be tricky. But Volkswagen have had some amazing success in the rallycross world as well, with particularly Peter Solberg, who is now won world championships in rally, in sort of stage rallying in the World Rally Championship, and also world championship in the rallycross world. The Volkswagens, they know how rallycross works. So yeah, looking forward to it next week at Hell.
We'll see how the Volkswagens do there when we go to that racetrack. But we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's exciting action from Iowa. I'd also like to thank Valhalla SimSport for organizing this strong series. It was a very fun round, to say the very least. Are you interested in advertising with GSRC? Our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow this link in the description to the YouTube version of this broadcast to learn more about the Global Sim Racing channel. With that, we'd like to take the time to thank the companies who provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed up on your screen now. Additional thanks to Jude for One, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of our great work. Thanks to the team today in Peter and Sean. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including the upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. If you'd like to support the channel, you can check out our merchandise for sale at gsrc.storyvy.com, or check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. As talked about with our race winner tonight, the final round of the campaign goes to the place they call Motorsport Hell. That'll be on July 25th for the season finale. Be sure to tune in. Start time expected about 4:45 p.m. Eastern. You have many upcoming races for other series listed up on your screen as well, so be sure to check those out and mark them down your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.